Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Greetings, race fans, and welcome to Apex Racing TV's coverage of the Radical Racing Challenge. J.R. Gregory here on the call, and spelling our buddy Racing Ron Mons today. Avery McDonald beside me in the commentary booth, and our good friend and colleague Joshua Wilkie in the production carrier today. He'll be pushing your knobs and twisting your buttons. And the star of the show, as always, the Radical SR10, 425 horsepower, 725 kilos, no traction control, no ABS, and we are showing the top split of a very popular race today on the public server. So as we continue on into next year, if you'd like to participate in the Radical Racing Challenge and appear on Apex Racing TV, all you need to do is show up and participate. 2100 GMT every Friday, and that'll start up again, of course, in 2 weeks when season 1 of 2014 begins. And I'll tell you, it's worth taking this car for a spin. Mastery of this car will make you better at every car that you drive. So here we are. This date has been circled on everyone's calendar for the entire latter part of the year here. Week 12, we are at the Green Hell, the Nürburgring, winding its way through the Eifel Mountains of Germany in the shadows of Castle Nürburg. The first race here on public roads, of course, way back in 1907. Well over 100 years of racing history here, including Formula One and all kinds of crazy track days. If you spend any time on YouTube, you've seen some fantastic footage of people in rental cars out here. And what the configuration we're looking at today, almost 21 kilometers, almost 13 miles, and 154 corners. And thankfully we have Avery here to help out. I know that he has been memorizing those 154 corners complete with the correct German pronunciation, so we'll be deferring to him on identifying those as we go through. Let me run through the standings here for you real quickly as qualifying winds down. Number 1 on the season, James Barry, has held on. It looks like he is going to be the Radical Racing Challenge champion of this season. Andreas Friedrich is in P2. Walters, Caruso, Ordieres, Vitorino, Yanakis, Hernandez, American Chad Fox, and Matthew Levine are going to round out your top 10. And we're going to jump right into the grid now here. And Avery, as we get rolling here, well, I'll go ahead and let you run through our grid here. Talking a little too much, but want to reassure our audience that you're actually in the chair. So why don't you give us the grid?
Well, you know, it's an honor to be here. I've been driving the Radical all day to try to memorize all the corners, but Philip Hurek is going to start on the pole with Rafael Blanco in second, James Berry third, Andreas Friedrich in fourth, and then David Walters rounds out the top five. Sieb Satellite going to go sixth, Javier Horta, Marcus Rizbek, Samir Kador ninth, Phelan Prichard in 10th, Chad Fox is in 11th, and then Ian May 12th. Then Ben Jacobs, David Piazza, Frederick Porches, Matthias Shu, Juan Perez, Martina Ward, Daniel Silva, Edward Narzinko, and Alvio and Tomas Lanskin. Yes,
Wow,
I can't mess this up.
And we are green, and we're watching Vandenhert there. He's going to get away clean from his P1 position, and he's going to maintain that. He's got Blanco sniffing around behind, flashing his lights, and James Berry in P3. We've got a handful of our top 10 runners here at the Nürburgring. It's always a popular one as we are heading off down the first section of hill here at the Green Hell on ice cold tires in these overpowered radicals, and so far so good. We're used to seeing some little bit of kerfuffleage here in the early going, but we had a huge grid and our top split is full of some of the best radical racing drivers in the world, so we're seeing them get away from with a clean start, and Vandenhert already stretching that advantage. We are on lap one of what I think is going to be about a 4-lap race, and off we go. Sorry I interrupted you there, Avery. So what are you looking for as this one unfolds here this afternoon?
Survival. If you want to win this race or get a good finish, you need to survive. And here's Andreas side by side there. And yeah, I've been doing the Ringmeister all season long pretty much. And yeah, it's all about survival when you come to this track.
All right, and there's our runner. So far as you can see, it's Herc from Blanco, Berry, Friedrich Walters, Seteliet, Horta, Rabarchik, Pritchard, and Kadora are going to make up your top 10, and a couple of familiar names here, as this is week 12 of season 4. We've seen a lot of these drivers appearing throughout the season. Some excellent driving that they have done for us here, and we're going to see a lot more of that today. And you can see the sun is setting in the Eifel Mountains here, that beautiful orange hue on the cars, and getting a little bit of paint swapping there, but still no incidents that I can see. There has been some shuffling in the field, but a nice clean start so far, and Blanco still hanging in there with Philip Vandenhert, who has the pair of them have stretched out about a 3.5-second lead on Berry, and Berry's going to have Friedrich sniffing around behind him. So a couple of small trains forming with some of our traditional very fast runners here as we head down the hill and start knocking off the first quarter of the course here.
Yeah, you see, top two just pulled away. It's a 3.5-second gap from second to third. So they're just going to mind their business and just kind of stay in form, not try to pass each other yet. It's a 4-lap race, so it's no need to push the limit. But when you have the drivers behind them, when you're already that far back, you might as well battle even harder to put a little better show on. But big props to the top two. And this is back in 7th place. You take a look at Walters, Horta are trying to make some moves. And the long straightaway here, JR just kind of tuck in line and see if you can make a move.
Yeah, it looked like Kadura there taking advantage of the draft, and that first initial straight is going to sneak past Pritchard. And yeah, the cars staying nicely grouped together here. We're going to see some battling. We can, at times on this track, see the field spread out significantly, so it kind of becomes a track day toward the end. But all of our 22 runners here separated by only 14 seconds. And my gosh, the top 10, only 7 seconds between them. And then we see Porta side by side with Salif. As we head into this section, which name I do not know, but we're getting into the first section of nice twisties headed toward the familiar carousel.
Yeah, I'm already lost. I was lost after turn 5, and that's what makes this track so awesome. You just have to always keep in mind you don't know. You got to remember which corner's coming up, and there's no driving line, so you have to have a good memory. It looks like there's a stopped car that looks to be Chad Fox. Back there.
Boy. And there is our first fatality. Chad Fox has binned it. He's complaining loudly over the race comms, and he feels he was done wrong there, and he is stuck. He's going to need a tow back and a tow on the Nürburgring. You might as well make a sandwich, crack a beer. Oh, he's going to try to drive off here now. See what kind of damage he took. Wow, and Chad Fox, that beautiful livery stuffed into the Armco there. And based on the comm chatter, I think he had some help on that. See if Josh wants to spool up a replay. Meanwhile, Vandenherk still half a second ahead, and that pair, Vandenherk and Blanco, have Gap Friedrich and Barry, who are also stuck together by about 3 or 4 tenths. It seems like our cars are kind of pairing off here so far. We've got that group with Elliott, Satellite, Walters, Herta, Kadura, Pritchard, all packed together pretty good. There's a little train forming there, and here is Fox. That is him in the multicolored car here. Got someone sniffing around behind him, stuffs it inside, and boy, I don't know, a little bit of a rub there. Maybe not sure if that really was deserving of the heated commentary from Fox there, but I understand his frustration, the adrenaline that builds up when you grit up on this track, knowing what's ahead, and Fox not making it one lap before having a bad impact on the barriers.
How about his effort to get unstuck here? So that was really impressive for him. You saw Kadora were on board with him, was looking to make a move on Horta, but thought better of that. So, but he's got a lot of pace, so I'm expecting him to try to make some moves soon.
Yeah, Kadura may have been saving it for the back straight here. There's a massive draft, and if we get our intervals up, you'll see those drafts falling, and you kind of have to decide what you want to do with this. A lot of cars are going to be changing positions on every lap because of this extremely long straightaway, very difficult to defend, and things can get a little squirrely here when they woe down into the on the entry into the back section. We're seeing 3 wide here. It's going to be 4 wide. Oh my gosh, and there's some problems. Who was it that biffed it there? That was Satellite, and he definitely had some help. He's not going to be happy about that. A little high-speed pit maneuver is going to be summoning the virtual medics after that impact. Ouch.
Yeah, just you're on the straightaway. You got to try and go straight. You know, there's a little bend where the incident happened, but we race on. So Horta still trying to find a way around Kadura because the gap between Barry, who's in 4th, and Kadura in 5th is about 5 seconds. So maybe he can try and get around him and try to catch back up to the field because 1st and 2nd are gone, and so is 3rd. So really good run though by Horta to maintain some good pace because it's really tough though when you're behind a driver and your braking points might be a little bit different. So, you know, if you're catching it right up to the bumper, you have to brake a little earlier. So, good job by Horta to maintain some good pace back to 14.
Yeah, Horta looking good here. Sorry, Avery. And he's got about 4 tenths ahead of him. He also has 4 tenths behind him. So that ride along you just saw was facing forward. But, you know, Horta's checking his rearview mirror as well to defend. And now we're looking back at Shu from Nazarenko. Shu's going to take a little peek, show his nose around the outside here, entering this high-speed super hazardous left. You see the cars get a little bit loose there. And then we're into this hard braking section, into this right-hander, into the next downhill dash. Wow, these drivers are putting on a show here, folks. These are some of the best esports drivers in the world and masters of this very difficult to drive Radical SR10.
Yeah, tough car to drive. I've been, like I said earlier, driving all day here to try to understand what these guys are going through. And I was running way slower than everybody in this field, but Ben Jacobs, you see him trying to find a way around Shu, and you got, you know, Nazarenko in front of him, but back up to the battle for the 5th position. Kadura is showing the way right now, and Horta he gets close and then he just kind of falls back in. He just doesn't quite have the pace to get around him.
Yeah, and we're just hearing from our producer, Josh. We're going to take a little look at Satellite going off on the straightaway here, and which car we're looking at here. Oh yeah, the dark car on the right. It looks like he might have come across the nose a little there. I don't know, they were 3 wide. You sort of needed to maintain his lane over there on the right. That one might be on him or a racing incident, but that is a hard impact at a high-speed area for Satellite, and looks like he has binned it, although looking at my timing tower here, it looks like he is back on the track as well as Chad Fox. So they are not going to give up, maybe driving for safety reading at this point. But the race will go on with Vandenherk beginning to stretch that lead now a little bit over Blanco. Looks like it's up to about 7/10, and Vandenherk's last lap, a 6:22.9. We may get into the teens here. When I was practicing in preparation for the broadcast, I was pretty proud of myself getting down to into the high 20s. So I'm guessing I'm about 10 seconds behind some of these faster drivers. So we may see Vandenherk tickle the high teens here as the race goes on, and we are on, as it shows there on our SDK Gaming software, lap 2 of 4. And boy, 6:22.8, that is smoking. And like I said, I'm betting that they're going to be able to shave just a little bit more time off as these cars lighten up, burning off the fuel.
Yeah, it must be nice to get into the 6:20s. I was in the 6:30s, so but we were really being very patient around this track. I was, but I like to where Blanco's at right now. No reason to try and push it, try to force Hurricane to make a mistake, and just sit there, wait a little bit, and still, we're not even halfway through this race yet. We're getting close, but you just got to keep pushing the limits and try to get the driver in front of you to make a mistake, because your goal is to have them look in the mirror. And here's David Piazza in 14th, trying to find a way around Jacobs. We've kind of been watching this a little bit. I love going on board here. Just really shows you how fast these drivers are going through this track.
Yeah, and a very good point, Avery, about Blanco. And if Ron was here, he'd be able to verify my recollection. But I want to say Vandenherk and Blanco came together at the end of the final lap last time we were here at Nordschleife in season 3. So it's very possible that Blanco is just going to be happy following Vandenherk for the entire race until the taking advantage of the draft on the last straightaway, and there's a wreck up ahead of Piazza, who goes evasive and gets through there. Not sure who that was. Might have been Horta getting entangled in the Armco, but yeah, as I was saying, Blanco might just be biding his time for the final lap to make that dive coming off of the back straightaway.
Yeah, he just minding his P's and Q's. Take a look at the SDK Gaming replay with Horta, and just cruising along. Yep, a little bit too much throttle coming out of the corner, touches the wall just a little bit, and just lucky he didn't back up into anyone, but he's still moving along.
Yeah, just over rotating a little bit, and what Ron and I talk about quite a bit on these cars is tire wear, and a number of drivers have confirmed this. If you beat these radicals for the entire sprint race, no matter what the track, the tires are going to fall off, and it will be a different car by the end. So that may have bitten Horta here on lap 2 if he overheated those tires and was flogging the car a little bit too hard to try to make up that position. And again, here we are back at Blanco. I guarantee you that he backed out of that as close as he was to Vandenherk. He could have taken advantage of the draft and got beside him, but decided not to. And we're going to see him make a different decision on lap 3. And now we're with Nazarenko looking forward at Jacobs and Shu here going into this potentially treacherous braking zone off of that back straight where these radicals will reach terminal velocity, rolling across the start finish now to begin lap 3 of 4.
Yeah, only 2 drivers in the teens. That's your top 2. Everybody else is. Oh, around goes. I believe that's David Piazza that goes around, gets some hard damage here, but he's gonna roll on. Here's the SDK Gaming replay. Yeah, the car was a little unsettled.
Piazza just overcooking that one. It's a different attitude coming off of that back straight at terminal velocity, and the first couple of corners back at the beginning of the lap are very slow. That second gear left corner where we just saw that incident is excruciatingly slow. You also have to be patient getting on the throttle, which Piazza, as you can see there, was not, and ended up leaving some paint on the Armco for his trouble. Meanwhile, here is Barry, and What is going on with him? It's Barry and Friedrich still linked together. You could throw a blanket on those two, as my partner Ron would like to say. That gap down to about 0.2. And again, we might be seeing Friedrich. His goal may be just to hang with Barry until the last lap and then make a dive after the front straight, after that back straightaway. So we are going to be seeing some action at the end of lap 4.
Yeah, especially, I mean, that's the best time to make it is on that last lap. So one of the things I like to do is I try to pull a little fakey, so it looks like I'm going to make the pass, and you just hope they're going to give it to you. I don't think these drivers are doing that today, but Barry's just trying to keep the car clean. Like you said, the tires wear down, so the big importance here is to maintain your tire wear, smooth inputs on the brake, throttle, and steering. So that's probably what big thing James Barry's looking for.
Yeah, and what a treat watching these two folks. This is P1 and P2 on the season. So in terms of this season anyway, these are the two fastest Radical SR10 drivers in the esports world. And man, what a pleasure to watch them flog these puppies around Green Hell. If you haven't driven a Radical, I'm no Radical salesman, but you won't regret laying down the 1495 and taking one of these cars for a spin, particularly in some of these high-speed tracks. They make a delightful 4-cylinder turbo noise. They got tons of mechanical grip, and you've got to love the feeling of driving an open cockpit car at speed. So honestly, folks, take one of these puppies for a spin and join us next season here on Apex Racing TV, the Radical Racing Challenge. And there is a little change of position. Looks like Nazarenko is able to squeak past May, but he lost it. And I know that corner well too. It's another one where you really have to woe down. There are some corners that really sort of break the fast flow of the Nordschleife, and that was one of them. That's about a third gear right-hander downhill on the brakes and an easy place to wash out and go wide. And you saw May do that there, and all of his effort to make that pass go are for naught as he gives up position immediately.
Yeah, and if you want to try the car out for free, do the test drive next week when during the update. So, and then after you realize how awesome it is, you can make the purchase and try to come.
That's
race.
an excellent suggestion. Free test drives during week 13. Yeah, definitely recommend giving one of these bad boys a try.
Speaking of giving it a try, Ben Jacobs was trying to want to give Ian May a try to get around him. This is my favorite part of the track right here. I'm so slow here, but it's just super cool. Brings me back to my days back when I first started sim racing here. It's one of the parts I really enjoyed. So gets onto a good straight, and Ben Jacobs is trying to tow his way back up to Ian May. Ian put up a really good couple corners to try to pull away just a little bit, but still lap 3 or 4, plenty of time to make mistakes.
Yeah, the carousel is an absolute riot, and a couple summers ago I had the pleasure to be out here in a rental car, and it is crazy to be on that carousel, and the experience here in iRacing made me enjoy that track day better. But man, what a hoot. There's a reason it's on so many gearheads bucket lists, and I couldn't have been happier with the day that I got to have out here, especially in someone else's car. That was a good feature. And meanwhile, while we blather on here, as I predicted, we are now into the 19s. Vandenherk has set a 6:19.62, and Blanco, not to be outdone, has put down a 6:19.60, probably taking advantage of the draft at the end of the lap. And Friedrich and Barry a couple seconds off of that. So Vandenherk and Blanco are setting a pace head and shoulders above the rest of the field here as we are getting close to the end of lap 3.
Yeah, they're just putting on a clinic right now. If you want to try to get better, go to a practice session they're in and save the whole clip and then just watch it all over again to get quicker. But good job by them. But Ian May has the pressure of Jacobs behind him, and then as you see, they're starting to tighten it back up for the lead. It was up to about 0.8 of a second, but the tow here is just amazing on how it handles with these cars. So this is where we're going to see him maybe make some moves coming up in the next lap.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see Blanco kind of planning ahead. What's he going to do? How's he going to handle that last lap pass? And hopefully it will turn out a little better than it did at the conclusion of season 3. I'm pretty sure that those two came together at the end of the last lap. So Ron, if you're out there, drop me a yay or nay in the chat, but that is my recollection. And look at these guys rolling the dice, diving in here off of the back straight into that final little twisty section at the end of the lap. And here's our right-hander coming up here past the start and finish, and lap 4 is now beginning. Herc and Blanco have already taken the white flag, and here's that tough lefty again, and more trouble there, man. That is a really hard one. You have to be so patient, and you have to be willing to drive this very fast car very slowly to get through there clean. Riding along or watching Matthias Schuh here with a train behind him, which includes Nadrenko, Jacobs, and May, and Horda, 4-car train with another train coming up behind. So kind of typical action that we see in these cars. They will train up, and especially here at the Nordschleife, like we said, many are biding their time for a wild dive into that final section off of the back straight.
Yeah, put on a really good run. The dog decided to go start barking.
Well, you know, dogs do have senses that humans don't have, and I'm sure your dog is sensing the excitement of the final lap at the Nordschleife with heavy traffic. Look at these guys rolling the dice side by side in that high-speed left. I wish I knew the German name of that one, but not this time. Maybe next year. Man, oh man, these radical drivers put on such an outstanding show week in and week out. The car control that's required to drive these things fast and the reflexes, hard to describe. So I definitely recommend taking Avery up on his suggestion of taking these things for a free test drive during week 13. You will not be sorry, and you may find a new favorite car. And not sure who we're with now, but looking forward at that beautiful John Player livery there. Really nice one. Not sure we've seen that one on track before, but very cool, kind of reminiscent of one of the old Senate cars, if I'm recalling correctly.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful car, and that's one thing I noticed with these radicals. It's got so much space for a little car to get your own customization or go back to something to replicate. But still, just that long train of cars, that big straight's going to be really fun.
Yeah, we are going to see some action. I'm looking at my timing tower now from Nazarenko, Jacob Schuh, May, Horda, Poches, Ward, and Condemago. All of those cars are 5/10 or less away from each other. So when that train reaches the station, there is going to be some action coming off that back straight. And meanwhile, it looks like Daniel Silva, currently running in P7, is going to be our hard charger, has moved up 12 positions. And we have not had a lot of incidents here, folks. So that 12 positions picked up by Silva maybe passed 2 or 3 people off, but that leaves him 8 or 9 legit passes at the green hell. So that is quite an accomplishment by him today. Holy cow.
Yeah, that's huge, especially when only 2 drivers are pretty much out of the race. But it's a really good job by him to move up. There's Horda side by side with May there. We'll see if May can hang on to that position. He's going to have to come back into the line of cars there. So good job by Horda to get around May, because you have to do it now if you want to try to make some more moves. Yeah,
absolutely. And for a moment, I thought that Poche might follow him through there. It looked like he was taking a little peek, but decided to save it. And again, my goodness, these intervals, look at that line of cars there, starting with, Nazarenko in P9. 27.5 back. Yeah, that's about, my goodness, 5, 6, 7 cars less than a second. So we're going to have quite the traffic jam at the end of this lap.
Yeah, the traffic jam is, like I said, it's coming up. But James Berry, the gap is falling back just a little bit from Friedrich, but he's still in the gap that he can maintain a good draft when he gets to that big long back straightaway.
Oh, and that's a change of position. I think we might have missed a pass there. It seemed to me like Barry was ahead initially, or do I have that wrong, Avery?
I think there was a pass. I'm not 100% mistaken between the dog barking and getting back and calling the race. So
yeah, so Friedrich might have got through there, and is that going to make Friedrich vulnerable to a pass here on the last lap coming off that back straight? Oh yeah, and here they are side by side, going through that fast section in the front third, or in the middle third of the track. And yeah, Friedrich sneaks by there. An interesting decision by him tactically. He is going to be vulnerable here coming off the back straight. So we're going to may see some action between Friedrich and Barry. Barry's going to have to reel him in a little bit there, though. It looks like about a 0.7 gap. Needs to get that down a little more to take advantage of that draft. And here they come. Or no, this is Vandenherk and Blanco riding along with Vandenherk now. And Blanco moving over to try to break the draft. We may see a little weaving here, but Vandenherk is going to have a run, and he's taken the outside entry now into the right-hander at the end of the front straight. This is where they came together last year or last season, as we're all going to hold our breaths, and Vandenherk is going to make that one stick. And nothing Blanco can do about that. Vandenherk off of the pole is going to take the victory, snatching it away from Blanco. Wow, what a run by... And almost gets the fastest lap as well at a smoking 6:19.6. Holy cow.
Yeah, Ben Jacobs is trying to hold off, try to get around Nazarenko, and then the big battle behind them. They're just lucky that gap hasn't shrunk even more. So just a fantastic run to the finish. I mean, that is like one of the cleanest finishes I've seen with that many cars on that big straightaway.
Yeah, insanely clean. Kudos to all these drivers. And as I predicted, I hate to lay the commentary's curse at the feet of Friedrich, but as I predicted, Friedrich took that pass in the middle of that lap 4, and as a result was vulnerable on the back straight. It looks like Barry managed to squeak back through. So holy cow, what a race. And our participation was through the roof. There were about 65 cars registered for this one, so the top split with that size field. We got some of the best radical drivers in the world here for this one. And here is a replay. As I said, here's Friedrich coming down the back straight, Barry picking up that draft like taking candy from a baby, really. And Friedrich tries to get back over and redraft, which is something that can happen on this lengthy straight. He's thinking about it. He's looking at it. Tries to peek around the outside, but can't quite get it done. Man, that is some great driving by both of these drivers. And again, folks, that is number 1 and number 2 in the world, dicing at the green hell. And you saw it here on Apex Racing TV. Outstanding. Wow, what a race. And oh my goodness. While I collect myself here, Joshua, we may be ready for the final here if everybody has taken the checker. But yeah, that is our season finale, and a fitting season finale to what has been an outstanding season 4. Yeah, absolutely. Let those results fly, Josh, and we'll run through those. And from the poll, I believe, or did Blanco have the pole? My gosh, I'm so wound up, I've completely lost track. But Philip Vandenherk has taken the win. Rafael Blanco will be in P2. James Barry in 3 after getting past Friedrich and the last 100 feet of the track. Friedrich in 4, Kadura in 5, David Walters in 6, another one of our top 10 drivers participating in the finale here today. Daniel Silva in 7, Edward Nazarenko in 8, Jacobs in 9, and Phelan Pritchard will round out the top 10. Then we have Shu, Pochez, Horta, May, Perez, Ward, Lapsinski, and Condamago will be P18 there. And getting down to the bottom, we have Chad Fox, David Piazza, Rybarczyk, and Satellite. And I think only the last 2 there ended up not taking the checker. So man, oh man, what a fantastic race. Everything that I expected. What do you think, Avery? Is that about what you were looking for when you sat down here this afternoon?
Yeah, I'm signing up in 2 hours to do or an hour or so to do the next race. But Man, what impressed me the most about this, how clean they were that whole race. Yeah, we had a couple incidents, which is to be expected, but coming to the finish, I mean, everybody gave room, and they were all racing hard for the position. So, man, what a phenomenal job by these drivers, and such an honor to be able to call some of the best drivers in the world.
Yeah, that was quite a show. And again, that long train starting with Nazarenko with 7 or 8 cars in within 3 or 4 tenths. When they got down to that decision time in that last lap, coming into that tight woe down area at the end of the lap, they negotiated that clean, respectful. I'm not sure if there were any position changes there at the end because there was so much going on, but you're absolutely right. That was some fantastic, clean, and respectful driving, and that's just the kind of driving that we've come to expect from this radical community. And really could not recommend this group more if you're looking to change cars. Maybe you're sick of the GT3s or want to get out of open wheelers into something with a little less downforce, a little more slippy slidey. This is absolutely the car to try. And looking in, I'm just going to peek outside the door here. I don't see anybody waiting to come in and talk to us. I'm a little surprised by that, so we'll leave the lights on here for a second. But in the meantime, Apex Racing TV is not just about this fantastic Radical Racing Challenge. We have got some of the best cars, best drivers, and best tracks in the business 7 days a week. So be sure and hit that subscribe button with Apex Racing TV and hit the notification icon so that you don't miss anything good coming up. And speaking of coming up this weekend, we have 2 Ray esports events, Formula Ford Weekend Warriors and Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warriors, both fighting it out at Road America. And those cars at Road America, you'll have plenty of time between laps to go to the fridge for another beer. And Monday next week, we'll kick off strong with round 8 of the Rickmatech World Challenge. That's a mixed class. I think it's GT3 and P2, I believe, mixed class racing at Watkins Glen, which is always a fantastic show. And I'm hearing from Josh that we may have Jamie Berry here. Yep, there he is. So we'll go ahead and bring him on in here and talk to him about today's proceedings. So Jamie Berry, what a fantastic show you guys put on today. There was over 60 cars registered for our 2100 GMT broadcast slot. So the top split was truly some of the best esports drivers in the world, yourself included. And I got to start by congratulating you. It looks like you have season 4 championship, and that is world championship sewn up here in the Radicals. So great job pulling off that is quite a feat over a long season.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know if I can accept that title of being one of the best esports drivers, because I'm nowhere near, to be honest, but it's been a successful season, obviously. I've just been able to beat what's been in front of me. The participation hasn't been great, but yeah, it's been really fun. I mean, Andreas, who I beat to the title, he's a great driver, and I'm really happy with myself that I managed to beat him over the season. And in that race, I had a great race with him right there. Yeah, I'm sure you guys enjoyed that, because I did.
Yeah, we did. That was fantastic. And, I had a kind of a strategic question there in that long straight section there in the first third of the lap. Friedrich decides to take the draft and go by you on the last lap. Seemed to me like he was just setting himself up for the inevitable pass on the back straight, and that's exactly what happened. Were you surprised when he went for that early pass on lap 4?
I don't know if I was surprised. I mean, it was an aggressive race from both of us up to that point, but I mean, the thing is, the challenge is in that second half of the lap, you need to be able to follow the guy in front, and he was quite close, I think, to getting away from me, pulling that kind of second gap to get out of the slipstream, but I just managed to hold on. I think in a couple of corners before the final straight, he kind of got it a little bit wrong, and I managed to pull the gap back up, and then yeah, at that point, you're basically in pole position at that point, because as the car behind, it's your decision when to go. He was backing off, I think. I'll have a look at it again, but I think he was backing off quite early in the straight, hoping that I would pass him, and I wasn't having it. I was just waiting until you can wait until it starts going uphill, and then you can get a massive overspeed of the slipstream, and that's what I managed to do.
Yeah, and just beautifully, expertly done. And you were right, that gap did stretch out. We were watching that. It got up to 0.9, almost a second, which is kind of in the danger zone of getting out of the slipstream. But you managed to close that down in time to make the move at the end. Excellent drive. Excellent, excellent. And my goodness. So what do you hear about the track selection for next year? Has that been made public yet?
Yeah, it has. I mean, I can read the whole thing out to you if you want, but basically it's going to be a lot of the more popular tracks on iRacing because the guys are trying to get participation back up. And then a couple of other ones thrown in like Sebring, Suzuka, we're doing Tsukuba. The season opener will be at Red Bull Ring. So, I mean, hopefully we'll have good participation. It's kind of a make or break season for the car, I think. Because there's just been so many new cars on iRacing, and yeah, the guys really want to get participation back up, and you guys would enjoy that as well if that happens. So
yeah, this car is going to be a handful at Red Bull Ring. I don't have anywhere near your experience in them, but I do know that they don't like particularly woeing all the way down to first gear coming off of a long straight, and that happens a couple times on that track. So that'll be interesting to see how you guys handle these little monsters out there on the Red Bull Ring. Well, thank you for coming by and speaking with us, James, and congratulations again on the season win. And you know, there's a difference between outright speed 100% of the time and somebody who drives consistently, safely, avoids incidents, and keeps fighting. And that's what you were able to do this season. So excellent job. And as we wrap it up here, is there anyone you would like to give a shout out or thanks to?
Yeah, you guys for being here for every race every week, and it's made the series like still really fun because we have this kind of strength of field race every week despite the low participation elsewhere. So yeah, thanks to you guys, and hopefully we can do it all again next season.
Oh, absolutely. It is our pleasure, and it is a treat to watch you guys ply your trade in these radicals. And you've even gotten me interested in the car. I'm not quite quick enough to join you, but I certainly enjoy throwing down laps to prepare for the broadcast every week, and it really is a fantastic car. So, all right, folks, that is James Berry, your world champion in the Radical Racing Challenge here for 2013 Season 4, and he gave us a brief preview. A brief preview of our track selection for 2024 Season 1, which will start at the Red Bull Ring. So thanks a lot, James. And yep, he disappeared. And my goodness, whew, that was quite a run. Avery, any final thoughts from you today?
Oh, just a phenomenal run by all the drivers here tonight. They ran super clean for the most part. And when you come to a track like here, you really expect to have about half the field junked by lap 2, and we only had 2 cars out of the race at the end. So phenomenal job by all drivers and anybody that helped them out with getting ready for this week's race. They got a week off. They're going to be back at it again for the Radical Racing Challenge. So as always, really appreciate everybody for tuning in, and that was a great job by all the drivers. So that's all I really got, JR.
Yeah, totally. And I'll second that. Thank you so much for joining us here at 2100 GMT, our Friday broadcast of the Radical Racing Challenge. J.R. Gregory here for Avery McDonald, for the absent Racing Ron Mons, and our fine producer, Joshua Wilkie. Thank you so much for joining us. Happy Friday, and have a fantastic weekend.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, You owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.